Hey everybody, it's me, Peter. Okay, so today let's talk about media and identity. Hey Anthony, it's that time. We're doing the media identity tag. Oh, this is so exciting. Anthony D'Angelo has tagged me for the first time. He has taken my tag virginity. Thanks, Anthony. I will always cherish this moment. Well, that's not weird. So, everybody, if you didn't know, sometimes on YouTube, what people will do is they will come up with different tags, and then they'll tag each other and be like, hey, tag, you're it, make a video on this. Okay, so here's the rules of the game. There are 5 questions that I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to go and tag 5 people to answer these questions in turn. So let's get down to it, shall we? Ready? Question number 1. Through which media do I consume and produce content? So I produce content on YouTube and Facebook and in print, like writing or electronic, different forms of writing. Generally as essays. I am an essayist. It's just my thing. I'm a writer. I always have been and I always will be. Now, I consume a whole bunch of different forms of media. I am a voracious watcher of YouTube videos. Facebook, I consume a lot of information from Facebook. And then in terms of writing, I consume a lot of academic like research papers, academic writing, journals, news articles, all that jazz. And my main news aggregator, in case you were curious, is Google News. And it's really awesome because you can use it and set it up to pull back articles on whatever topics you are the most interested in. For me, the big ones that I read every day are technology, Asia Pacific, China, local news, LGBT, science and technology, and health, and then the United States. Okay, so technically that's like all of the things. Next question. How did I learn to use these media? At home, at school, or on my own? So each of those, I guess, mostly on my own. However, when I was going through high school, I did do an advanced multimedia course. So in terms of photography and film, I have experience with those, as well as 3D modeling and a bunch of other stuff that I got in high school. Granted, this was like 10 or 11 years ago, but a lot of the skills I have maintained over time. As far as writing, I started out writing just on my own for school, and then it eventually became a hobby, and then it went from a hobby back to doing a lot of academic writing for school. I actually do a lot more writing on Facebook than a bunch of other mediums. And oddly enough, when I post like pages long posts on Facebook in response to people's questions, this makes people happy. And that's very interesting. And this happens all the time. And then YouTube, actually, I learned to use mainly on my own. Eventually, I got onto YouTube when it started up in like 2007, and I had a channel, well, 2006, that I would play on from 2006, 2007, 2008, and then I joined the Navy and I dropped off. And then I started up again recently. And now I learn most of the stuff for YouTube, like for video production, from YouTube itself. Yeah. Okay. Next question. How important are those media to my life? How have they changed me? Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, Facebook is really important to me because it lets me keep in contact with my friends and family that don't live here in Hawaii, and that is a lot of them. I really got started using Facebook right when I joined the Navy. I had been on MySpace, and I actually had an arrangement with one of my friends who's now getting married, and I love her to death. Hey, Melissa, if you see this, hey. Where I would write her letters, and she would then take those letters and put them on MySpace. And so that was the first time I realized how great it was to use social media as a way to communicate with people who I didn't normally have access to. So friends and families back home. And now that I've been in Hawaii for like the past 4 or 5 years, that's the main way that I keep in contact with my family and friends. And writing is very important to me. It's how I learn to express myself coherently. And it's how I have learned to understand how others express themselves. It's really fun to just sit down and read and get a peek into somebody else's mind. It's like I mentioned in the poetry video. Like, you have a shared link with that person for as long as you're reading. And that's awesome. For YouTube, it has more recently had a very large impact on my life by letting me see what people care about and letting me see how excited people can get about stuff that they care about and how great of a benefit that can be to others when they decide to take this information that they have and this knowledge that they know and share it with other people who wouldn't otherwise have access to this information. These people put out really good content, and that has had a huge impact on me, especially as of late, because it helps me become a better person, I think. Question number 4. How do I portray myself through these media? Socially, politically, artistically, or otherwise? Generally, how people perceive me or how I portray myself is generally slightly more polished. But At the same time, I am just as rambly in real life as I am on YouTube, if not more so. So if anything, I'm slightly more, well, I'm actually fairly more coherent in my writing, especially because when you write, you can go back and check and change things and make things more clear. And on YouTube, well, jump cuts, jump cuts, jump cuts. Yeah, that's right, I just did that. Now, in spite of all of this polish that I apply to my personhood, my character, I do like to keep a continuity of character basically going on between the real me that you might encounter when you meet me in person and the me that I put myself out there as on the internet. Because honestly, everything that I put out is something that was up here to begin with. I try to express myself genuinely, whether or not that is in person or through writing or through video or even sometimes through photography. But generally that's just more because I like pretty things. Okay, number 5, what responsibilities do I have as a consumer of media and as a producer of media? Okay, so responsibilities that I have as a consumer are as follows. I have the responsibility to make sure that the information I am consuming has been gathered responsibly and is presented in a way that it is accurate and accessible. That is why generally the sources that I access information from, the different media platforms that I go to, either they're easy for me to fact check, or I can reasonably rely on the person who created the content to make sure that the information is accurate itself already. Now, as a producer, I would say that my responsibilities are really almost the same. If I'm going to produce something for somebody else's consumption, there is a certain level of honesty that is intrinsic to whatever I put out. And that means, honesty in terms of I'm not trying to deceive you unless it's actually a work of fiction that I'm putting out. I'm giving you facts so that if you are to come to conclusions, you are able to come to the most accurate conclusions as possible. I have a responsibility to be respectful of my audience and to be mindful of my audience. And now that I just passed 100 subscribers, I feel like I'm getting a picture of who you guys are, which is awesome. And it's so interesting to see the diverse backgrounds that you guys come from. Yeah, so that's my responsibility as a producer of content. Quality, kind of, but definitely honesty and being mindful. Those are 3 responsibilities. Okay, that's it. Those are my 5 answers. This video is probably a lot longer than I meant it to be, and that's okay. So yeah, now the fun part, the 5 people that I'm going to tag. And I'm going to name them off, and I'm also going to give a quick description of each person so that my viewers know who they are. And many of them you may have already heard of, but some of them maybe not. I guess we'll find out. So, person number 1, Steve Miller, I pick you. I pick you because you live abroad and you have your fingers in a bunch of different media forms, whether it be through writing for the Times, the Financial Times, or through your vlog, or through the radio show that you do. And I think that having the foreign perspective, even though you are definitely American, would be a very big plus to this conversation. 2, I picked Nick Jenkins. Nick Jenkins, I pick you because of the breadth of experience that you have, and it's very diverse. Taking the skills that you have in regards to the film world, the film industry, and bringing that to YouTube, and seeing how those have played with each other, I think would be a very interesting perspective to have. Plus, the people you work with are crazy. But really, the main reason I'm picking you, Nick, is you need to make a video, and I figure I'll give you a swift kick in the butt, opportunity. So there you go. I hope to see something from you, and I have much faith in you. 3rd person I'm going to tag is Emily Eifler from Blink Pop Shift. Emily, you either work for PBS or KQED or KVIE, one of those public television stations. As a writer, that's all I know. But I also know that you do some really, really great content on YouTube, and your gifts recently have been crazy great. So I want to hear from you and what your experiences with media and how that interplays with your identity have unfolded. Especially now that you just started up a vlog. Welcome to the community, right? The 4th person I pick is Lindsay. Lindsay, I'm picking you because you have experience doing public speaking, and I think that is just as valid of a medium as any. I think that lends itself to having different experiences and different responsibilities, especially as a therapist. That definitely has a whole different realm of responsibilities that you can bring to the table. So I'm tagging you because I want to hear your perspective, and especially now that you've got the channel going up and you're at the 1-year mark. Good job. The 5th and final person I'm picking is you, Van Awesome, you handsome bee. I'm picking you because you, unlike everyone else that I've listed so far, it seems to me like your focus has always been a little bit more on the entertainment side. And you have been here on YouTube for a hot minute, and it would be remiss of me to not pick you. Also, the fact that you work for a company that does media as a thing, I think that lends itself to having a really interesting perspective, and I would like to hear it. And of course, to everyone else who is watching this, I would love to hear from you guys as well. So I will put the questions in the comment box below. If you feel so inclined, please make a video. I tag you. Yeah, that's right. So make a video. Let me know about it in the comments below or on Twitter or whatever, and I will watch the hell out of your videos. And I'm really excited to see what you guys can put out there. All right, talked way long, so I'm going to stop now. As always, stay classy, be awesome, I love you, and yeah. Okay, bye.